All right, let's start modeling. So to model this character might seem kind of daunting in the beginning, but we're just going to kind of break it down. And I'm going to go ahead and create a polygon cube. So I want to make sure that I'm in the modeling menu set. I'm going to go to create polygon primitives cube. I can see that the cube again appears at the center of the scene. And if it didn't, make sure that you have interactive creation unchecked. Okay, then it'll create it at the center of the scene. Now, over here, if I click on Polycube 1, again, I want to be on button 5, which is the channel box. And here, if I click on Inputs, I have some settings here. And one setting that I want, I'm going to hold down Alt, middle mouse, and right mouse click and zoom in. I want to go to Subdivision Width, and I want to put Subdivision Width to 2. So if I go here and type in 2, I can see that it's split it vertically. Okay, and now I can select this cube and I can move it up and I can put it right at the torso area. And I'm not really going to be worried about the side view for now. So I'm going to look at the front view. I want to tap the spacebar. And now I want to kind of position this where this green, this light green kind of torso area is. And I want to go like this, right click and go to vertex. Now, before I begin, I want to show something. So if I click on a vertex and move it up, it feels really awkward what happened here. But if I tap in the spacebar, and if I look here, I can see what's happening is I'm grabbing only that front vertex. So if I hit Control Z, I can see here that now it's very obvious what's happening. Okay. If I drag over it from the front, so if I click and drag, and now it looks like I grabbed 1, but in fact I can see that I grabbed 2. And when I move that, I can see how they're moving together. Okay, so that's how I always want to kind of work in this view. You'll notice that when I select things, I don't just click on it singularly. I drag select because I realize there's one behind it and I want to make sure that I get both of them. Okay, that being said, I'm going to go back to this view. I'm going to tap the spacebar. I want to make sure that this one stays on the center line. The other thing too is that when I click on this, if I click on the arrow, it's going to kind of lock it to that area. Okay, no matter if I put my cursor up or down or my mouse up or down. If I grab the middle, I can kind of freely move it. Okay, now I want to be careful on the center line. I want to make sure that I'm keeping this exactly on the center line. So here's what I could do. I could drag select over all of these, move it up like that. Drag select over all of these, move it down like that. And now I can drag over this one and move it over here. Okay, but I'm going to undo that. Control Z. I want to make sure that symmetry is turned on. So if I come up here, I'm going to go to Object X. Now if I drag over this, I can move it and you can see it's moving on the other side. Okay, that's what I want. So I'm going to go ahead and put it right here at the corner. Then I'm going to also go down here. I'm going to grab this. I'm going to move this and put it right at that corner. Okay, you can see exactly here. Now I'm going to ask myself, where is it farthest from the image? And I can see right here, it's kind of farthest from the image. So I want to go up here to modeling. I want to be in the modeling menu set. I'm going to go to edit mesh and insert edge loop. And I can see that there's a lot of menus and it can look kind of daunting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new shelf. Okay, these are called shelves. And you can see that they have a bunch of icons in here. So I'm going to go like this. I'm going to go here. I'm going to say new shelf. And I'm going to call this, character. Okay, you could call it whatever you want. I'll just call it character. And now I can see that it's empty. So anything that I'm going to use, I'm going to be putting in the shelf. So for example, I want to use insert edge loop. So I'm going to go to mesh tools. I'm going to hold down Control Shift and go to insert edge loop. Here it is. Now I can click on that tool, and if I click on an edge, you can see that now I put an edge loop in. I'm clicking and holding, and then when I let up, it's going to commit to that. Now look at my arrow. Notice how my arrow doesn't have a tail. That means that it's ready to do another edge loop. If I go to this arrow, this is my normal selection. Notice how it has a tail. Now I can select things like normal. Okay, I feel like it's very important to understand when you're in the insert edge loop mode and when you're in regular selection mode. So I'm in regular selection mode when it has a tail. Now I'm going to right click and go to vertex. I can drag over this, go to my move, and I can move this in and down. And I can see that I'm starting to, it feels like trace the image. Now, when I do this stuff, I want you to do exactly what I'm doing, exactly the same splits, because it's kind of like we're doing a puzzle. And if you don't do the puzzle the same way I do, it's not going to work. Okay, it might seem like I'm just kind of like, just doing whatever I want, but I really have a strategy here. Okay, now I'm going to do another split right here where the armpits would be. So I'm going to go up to my tool. I'm going to click on the edge. I'm going to drag up like that. I got to kind of guess where the armpits would be. Now I'm going to go here, right click, go to vertex, grab this and slightly move it in, maybe up. Okay, that looks pretty good. And okay, this is looking pretty good. I'm going to tap the spacebar, look at it from the side. And with the side, I'm going to kind of have a different rule. With a side view, my rule is that we can only move it left or right. We can't move it up or down. Okay, so when we move it up or down, and what I mean by that is I don't want to move it this way because then it gets kind of screwed up from the other side. So if we only move it forward or back, I'm going to move it like that. And we're going to do this kind of for as long as we can. Okay, I got to kind of guess how far that comes in. Drag over that. And I'm just moving it until it kind of hits the image. Okay, actually that looks good. And you might be kind of tempted, oh, I want to move this up. Okay, I'm just going to kind of leave it. I'm going to try to go with that rule of only moving this sideways. Okay, and when we do that, then we'll be happier from this view. If we start moving it up, it's going to start looking weird on this view. Okay, so we're going to have the front view as our main view. Now I'm going to tap the spacebar here. I'm going to do an insert edge loop. And this time I'm going to do an insert edge loop here, down the center here. And I'm going to go to my move, right click, go to vertex. I'm going to grab this. And now I'm going to move this right here. And this one I'm going to move right here like that. Okay, excellent. Now again, if I tap the spacebar, I can look at the side view. Looks like not much we need to adjust there. I'm going to come back here. Maybe I want one kind of right through here with the hips. I'll go click here. And don't worry about kind of following the exact line. It's not about that. We're just kind of, I'm going to call this blocking it in right now. Okay. Actually, that's looking really good. I'm going to tap the space bar. And now it looks like maybe I grab this, kind of pull that back like that. Okay, great. Yep, that's looking really good. And if we look at it in perspective, if I tap the spacebar and I can kind of look at what I've got going on here, we might have a tendency to feel like we need to round it out, but I feel like the better we can keep it just kind of blocked in, the longer, the better. Okay, so I feel like this is a really, really good start on the torso. And it's imperative that it's aligned here and here. And now if you feel like you're kind of struggling, that the alignment isn't right, it might be that your alignment is off on the images. So you might have to kind of go back and check that. All right, that kind of wraps up the blocking of the torso.